gosh. Holy crap, guys. This thing is huge.
Look at this thing. Goodness gracious. Mind-boggling.
It is 4:43 in the afternoon on April 27th, 2011. A meteorologist in Birmingham, Alabama, looks at his radar screen and sees something that makes his blood run cold. A massive wedge tornado, over a mile wide, is bearing down on the city of Tuscaloosa. James Spann has been broadcasting for 10 hours straight. His voice is hoarse, his shirt is rumpled, and somewhere across town, a tree has just crashed through his own home's roof. He cannot leave, because in the next 90 minutes, this single tornado will kill 65 people, despite having over an hour of advance warning. This is not just one tornado. This is April 27th, 2011, the day that 216 tornadoes touched down in a single 24-hour period, the day that 4 EF5 tornadoes struck within 7 hours of each other, the day that 316 people died despite near-perfect forecasts and an average warning lead time of 24 minutes. This is the story of the deadliest tornado day in the United States in 86 years. The largest tornado outbreak ever recorded. The moment that changed how America prepares for tornadoes. This is the story of the 2011 super outbreak. Our story does not begin on April 27th. It begins almost a week earlier. April 22nd, 2011. Meteorologists at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, are looking at medium-range computer models, and they are seeing something they have seen before, something they fear. A powerful low-pressure system is forecast to develop over the southern plains. It will be fed by extreme instability and wind shear. This is the kind of atmospheric setup that produces violent, long-track tornadoes. The kind of setup that kills. Jim Stefkovich, a forecaster with the National Weather Service, later said he felt physically ill on April 24th. He said he was literally sick to his stomach, thinking this was going to be really, really bad. Jason Simpson told his wife on April 26th, it was the same feeling he had the day before Hurricane Katrina. He said the system could be very bad. The forecasters know. They have known for almost a week. But knowing and stopping are two different things. April 25th, Monday. The outbreak begins with 42 tornadoes across the South. The most significant struck Valonia, Arkansas, around 7:30 in the evening. It was a wedge tornado that stayed on the ground for over an hour, killing 4 people. The town had 30 minutes of advance warning. It did not matter. The tornado was too powerful. April 26th, Tuesday. 55 more tornadoes touched down. 0 fatalities. The storm system is moving east, deepening and strengthening. The low-level jet is increasing. The warm sector is expanding across the southeast. Everything is aligning. By Tuesday night, forecasters know what's coming. James Spann starts his overnight broadcast preparation. This was a Wednesday event. They had been mentioning the possibility of a high-impact event the Friday before. The Storm Prediction Center issues a high risk for Wednesday. Not moderate. High. The highest level they can issue. A 45% tornado probability. These numbers are almost never seen. When they are, people die. Wednesday morning, April 27th, 2011. James Spann wakes at 4 a.m. when the first tornado warning is issued. He takes what he will later call probably the quickest shower he has taken in a long time and rushes to the station. At 4:01 in the morning, the first warning goes out. For the next 18 hours, his station will broadcast continuous tornado coverage. The first wave hits between 5 and noon. It's a squall line, what meteorologists call a QLCS, a quasi-linear convective system. Dozens of tornadoes are embedded in the line. Most are weak. Some are not. At Cordova, Alabama, An EF3 tornado strikes in the morning darkness. The town takes a direct hit. Buildings are damaged. Power lines come down. The residents breathe a sigh of relief. They do not know that that afternoon, the same town will be hit again by an EF4 tornado that will kill 13 people. By noon, over 200,000 people are without power. Multiple NOAA weather radio transmitters are knocked offline. Cell towers are damaged. The morning storms have done something terrible. They have taken away the warning systems just before the deadliest tornadoes in decades arrive. After the morning storms pass, the skies clear over Alabama. The sun comes out. Temperatures rise. It's beautiful. Many people think the worst is over. But for meteorologists watching their screens, the clearing skies are terrifying because daytime heating is adding fuel to an atmosphere already loaded with energy. The numbers they are seeing are extraordinary. CAPE values, the measure of atmospheric instability, are between 2,000 and 3,500 joules per kilogram. Anything over 2,500 is considered extreme. Wind shear is measuring 50 to 80 knots. Helicity, the measure of rotation in the atmosphere, is reaching 450 to 900. For context, 150 is enough to produce tornadoes. These are values that support violent, long-track twisters. One forecaster will later describe it as one of the most conducive environments to violent tornadoes ever documented in the literature. At 2:28 in the afternoon, the second wave begins. For the next 7 hours, hell comes to the southeast. 94 tornadoes touch down. All 15 violent EF4 and EF5 tornadoes of the entire outbreak occurred during this window. At times, 6 or more tornadoes are on the ground simultaneously. Jason Simpson, broadcasting alongside James Spann, captured the chaos. The challenge was dealing with multiple strong tornadoes that were down at the same time. Which one do you focus on? In Phil Campbell, Alabama, David Smith steps onto his porch to check the sky. It was so dark that some of the street. He remembered that the lights turned on. Everybody he talked with said this thing happened quick. It formed in a hurry. The sky just got dark all of a sudden, and all heck broke loose. He did not know it yet, but he was about to witness an EF5 tornado. At approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the first EF5 of the day touched down near Philadelphia, Mississippi. It scoured the ground 2 feet deep over an area 100 yards wide and 400 yards long. 3 people died. It was Mississippi's first EF5 tornado in nearly 55 years. It was also just the beginning. 40 minutes later, at 3:42, the second EF5 touched down along the Tennessee-Tombigbee waterway. It was compact, 3/4 of a mile wide, but unbelievably intense. It was heading straight for Smithville, Mississippi. In Smithville, a town of about 1,000 people, Jimmy Cowley was in his pickup truck on Highway 25 when he saw the tornado. He was 69 years old, a retired firefighter. He tried to outrun it. He could not. He covered up because he thought he was gone. He said he was burning like fire because the wind and the mud were like a sandblaster hitting him. Every window in his truck exploded. The back of the truck lifted off the ground. The vehicle slammed down on its right side. A piece of tin flew through and gashed his head open. All through the night, the tornado was with him. He relived the nightmare again and again. Carolyn Boyd watched the rolling black smoke spin across the city limit line through her back door window. The tornado lifted her house off the foundation and twirled it like a child's pinwheel. The ranch home landed 50 feet across the yard facing the opposite direction. Her friend Eva Nell Smith felt what seemed like 2 hands gently pushing her to the end of the hall. She was alone. Her husband has been dead 10 years. Time stands still as the roof flies away without breaking apart. I could see the sky, red, yellow, and white. The mysterious hands push her through windows to the ground outside near her rosebush. Her Bible follows her, grimy with the back torn off, but the bookmark still holds her place in Revelation. I know there is a God because I felt his hands on me, and he saved me. The town of Smithville essentially ceases to exist. 18 homes are completely destroyed. Well-built 2-story brick homes, less than 10 years old, bolted to foundations, are swept completely away. The ground is scoured up to 1 foot deep. The post office is destroyed. The police station is destroyed. And then, something happens that will become legendary. An SUV is picked up, thrown half a mile through the air, strikes the town's water tower, leaving a visible dent, bounces off, flies another quarter mile, and lands mangled beyond recognition in a ditch. 23 people die in Smithville and the surrounding area. But the worst is still ahead. At approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon, southwest of Hamilton, Alabama, another tornado touches down. This one will become the deadliest single tornado in Alabama history. The Hackleburg. Phil Campbell, EF5. It will stay on the ground for 3.5 hours. It will travel 132 miles. It will reach winds of 210 miles per hour. It will kill 72 people. In Hackleburg, 75% of the town is destroyed. The high school, middle school, and elementary school are all obliterated. The Wrangler Denim Factory, the town's largest employer, is reduced to twisted metal. Jeans from the factory are later found more than 50 miles away. Well-built homes are swept completely from foundations with extensive windrowing. A 25-foot section of pavement is scoured. Debris lines the road, with chunks scattered up to 1/3 of a mile away. Trees are completely debarked. One car is wrapped around a debarked tree. In Phil Campbell, 21 people die. Entire subdivisions are swept away. Some homes have their concrete block foundations destroyed. Judy Evett loses 4 family members, including her daughter Patricia, a 2nd grade teacher. Patricia had spent the day calling parents to pick up their children due to the severe weather threat. Exhausted from caring for her students, she laid down for a nap. She never woke up. Judy recalled, "That is just the scariest feeling. Within just a few moments, your house is gone, and you look up and you're seeing the sky." The tornado often travels at over 70 miles per hour, one of the fastest moving violent tornadoes on record. It maintains EF5 intensity for nearly 70 miles. It's rain-wrapped, difficult to see, a monster hiding in the darkness. It damages main high transmission power lines from Browns Ferry nuclear plant. Some areas will be without power for 2 weeks. But while the Hackleburg tornado is still on the ground, while rescue workers are still trying to reach victims, while families are still sheltering in basements, another tornado is forming. At 4:43 in the afternoon, a new tornado touches down in rural Greene County, Alabama. Within minutes, it's a monster. Within half an hour, it will be over a mile wide. It's heading for Tuscaloosa. In Tuscaloosa, a city of 95,000 people, the warnings have been going out for over an hour. Everyone knows it's coming. James Spann's voice is on every television, every radio. Tower cameras are broadcasting live video of the massive wedge funnel approaching. Richard Scott, a meteorologist broadcasting from the basement of Bryant-Denny Stadium, watches the sky cameras. My heart sank deep in my chest, deep in my stomach, because you know that people are going to die. Some people are going to do everything right, but there's not going to be anything left of their house with a tornado that large. Ashley Mims is in Elmore County. Her 21-year-old daughter, Lauren, is in Tuscaloosa, in an apartment near campus. They're on the phone. Lauren says, "Mama, I'm scared." Ashley tells her, "It's okay, baby. Get your head down. Get your head down. That's coming right towards you." Lauren can see a window from where she is. It's completely black. Then the phone cuts off. Ashley knows in that instant. Ashley says, "I just knew. A mother just knows." I ran out of my front door and I said, "God, please don't take her," and I fell on my knees. And I knew that it was over. The tornado strikes Tuscaloosa with the force of a nuclear bomb. The Alberta City neighborhood is completely leveled. Alberta Elementary School is destroyed. Alberta Park Shopping Center is obliterated. The tornado passes directly through the University of Alabama campus area, destroying thousands of homes and apartment complexes. 6 university students die. Among them is Ashley Harrison, girlfriend of Alabama football starting long snapper Carson Tinker. As the tornado approached, Tinker and his roommates wedged into a walk-in closet with their dogs. Carson survives with injuries. Ashley is killed as the EF-4 tosses them far from their shelter. Kayla Hoffman, a former Alabama gymnast, takes shelter underneath stairs in her off-campus apartment at the last minute. Kayla says, "A wall from the other apartment completely fell down, and then perched itself like this, so I'm underneath. So it kind of created a little shelter. It had to be God. There's just no way that wasn't some sort of supernatural. It just wasn't my time to go." But for Lauren Brown and her roommates, it was their time. When the tornado finally passes, Will Stevens is found lying on top of Lauren and Danielle Downs, trying to protect them. All 3 are dead. Ashley Mims wants her daughter to be remembered for her perseverance, her enduring heart. If she loved you, you knew it, and she gave you 100%. She was loyal to all of her close friends. If you were blessed enough to know her, you felt loved. You felt like you were the only person in the world when she was talking to you. The Tuscaloosa tornado continues northeast. It's been on the ground for over an hour now. The parent supercell has existed for approximately 7 hours and 24 minutes, traveling roughly 380 miles from Mississippi to North Carolina. At 6:14, it finally lifts near Birmingham. 65 people are dead. Over 1,500 are injured. The damage totals $2.4 billion, making it the costliest single tornado at the time. But even as rescue workers are responding to Tuscaloosa, even as the first ambulances are arriving, even as the first bodies are being found, the outbreak continues. At 6:19 in the evening, another EF-5 touches down near Rainsville, Alabama. It has a multiple vortex structure. It sweeps well-built homes away. An 800-pound safe is ripped from concrete slab anchorage and tossed 600 feet into the woods. 25 people die. The same supercell that produces the Rainsville tornado continues into Georgia. At 8:13 in the evening, it drops another tornado near Ringgold, Georgia. This one will be rated EF-4 with winds of 175 miles per hour. In downtown Ringgold, businesses are destroyed. The Baymont Inn and Suites, McDonald's, Taco Bell, several gas stations, all gone. Ringgold High School is heavily damaged. Tractor trailers and semis are blown off Interstate 75. On Cherokee Valley Road, northeast of Ringgold, 12 homes are completely obliterated. This is where 4 of Georgia's 7 fatalities occur. Deep cycloidal ground, scouring is documented. Trees are debarked. In Apposon, Tennessee, Ruth Montgomery is playing Phase 10 with her grandchildren Malaya and Malik when the tornado strikes. They take cover in a closet. Ruth remembers that they were just shaking. "I didn't feel us raise up off the ground. The house raised up. All I was doing was praying and holding on to the kids, had God on my mind, and that was it. It was rocking us like we were on a roller coaster. Then all of a sudden, it stopped. When they emerge, the closet is the only thing left standing. Everybody thought I should be mad. I said, no, I'm not mad. And they said, why you not crying? I said, I'm alive. That's why I'm not crying. It was a miracle. A 1,200-pound gun safe drops on a family sheltering in a closet in another home. The family survives with serious injuries. 24 people die in the Ringgold area. By 9:10 in the evening, the violent phase of the outbreak finally ends. But the day isn't over. James Spann has been broadcasting for 10 hours straight. His voice is failing. His home has been damaged, but he can't stop because the warnings keep coming. The tornadoes keep touching down. As the day went on, it was just like bullets from hell. It was horrific. Across Alabama, first responders are working in the dark. Power is out. Roads are blocked. Cell service is down. They are painting X symbols on searched homes, the same system used after Hurricane Katrina, indicating which homes were searched and how many survivors were found. Vernon White, fire chief of Shoal Creek Valley, has his fire truck picked up by a tornado and thrown into the Coosa River. He survives. At the Huntsville-Madison County 911 Center, the normal daily call volume is 500. On April 27th, they receive over 1,500 calls. They are getting calls from other counties across Alabama when those 911 systems fail. At a Piggly Wiggly grocery store in Harvest, employees lead everyone into the walk-in cooler as a tornado approaches. The entire store is torn apart. Everyone in the cooler survives. Philip Russell, trying to reach his wife Pam in Pleasant Grove, is stopped at multiple barricades. Emergency crews will not let anyone through. They tell him she is okay, but that's not enough. Twice he is threatened with jail for trying to sneak in. He spends the night in his car, refusing to leave. The next morning, when he finally sees her, you take a deep breath and you go. But you can't get there fast enough. In Smithville, Mississippi, Roy and Ruth Estes have been married nearly 43 years. As the tornado approaches, Peanut sends his 8-year-old grandson across the street to a storm cellar but stays behind with Ruth. She is on oxygen and too frail to make it across. He won't leave her. He holds her in the hallway. When their son Paul finds his father after the storm, Peanut is propped up in a straight-back chair on top of what's left of the house, calling out George, his pet name for Ruth. "Son, I was holding her in my arms, and she just went up, and I couldn't hold on." Paul says, "Daddy, I love you." Peanut replies, "I'm fixin' to go." It takes hours before someone finds Ruth on the soft ground, eyes closed, dead. Peanut dies the following day. At midnight, April 27th becomes April 28th. The day that killed 316 people is officially over. But the outbreak continues. Another 47 tornadoes touch down on April 28th as the system moves northeast. Virginia is particularly hard hit with 19 tornadoes. An EF3 at Glade Spring kills 3 people and injures 50. By mid-morning on April 28th, tornado activity largely ceases. The historic outbreak is finally over. 4 days, 368 tornadoes, 324 deaths, $11 billion in damage. The largest tornado outbreak ever recorded, the second deadliest in American history, the costliest tornado disaster ever documented. And despite near-perfect forecasts, despite warnings issued up to a week in advance, despite an average lead time of 24 minutes, 316 people died on April 27th alone. James Spann will later break down. About a week after the outbreak, sitting at the breakfast table with his wife, he just starts crying. 252 people died on my watch, and that's absolutely inexcusable for anyone in the weather enterprise. He doesn't talk about the tornadoes for 6 months. He goes through a grieving process. He starts working to memorize all the names of the victims. That day will certainly be part of my soul for a long time. President Obama arrives in Alabama on April 29th, 2 days after the outbreak, while simultaneously dealing with the Osama bin Laden raid operation. He tours Tuscaloosa. After witnessing the damage, he says, "I've never seen devastation like this." The recovery begins immediately, but it's uneven. In Tuscaloosa, 95% of insurance claims are settled within a year, unusually quick. But 5 years later, recovery is slower than anticipated. Many vacant lots remain. There are racial and economic disparities in recovery, with wealthier commercial areas recovering faster than low-income residential neighborhoods. The majority of destroyed residences were rental properties. Displaced residents had median incomes below $25,000 per year. Many lacked insurance or resources for rebuilding. 10 years later, over $1 billion has been invested with significant redevelopment. But scars still exist. Some homeowners remain unrecovered due to lack of insurance and resources. One survivor, 10 years later, says, "People still haven't fully recovered. In Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, small towns saw 75% destruction. The small populations made recovery even more challenging. Then, in 2014, Phil Campbell was struck by another EF5 tornado, nearly following the same path. But something else comes from the 2011 outbreak, something that might save lives in the future. Before 2011, most tornado-prone states only required buildings to withstand 115 miles per hour winds. Many states lacked statewide building codes. Building failures in 2011 were similar to those reported 40 years earlier. The 2011 outbreak and the Joplin tornado on May 22nd fundamentally changed tornado preparedness in the United States. By 2018, the International Building Code includes storm shelter requirements for schools in tornado-prone regions. The shelters must withstand 250 miles per hour winds, EF5 category. By 2024, the first comprehensive tornado-resistant design provisions are in the Building Code. These are the first major tornado-specific building requirements in United States history. Warning systems evolve. The Weather Ready Nation initiative is launched. Impact-based tornado warnings are implemented nationwide. Commercial mobile alert systems and wireless emergency alerts are developed for mobile devices. But James Spann makes a point that haunts emergency managers. All 316 deaths on April 27th occurred from tornadoes with active warnings. The problem is not forecasting. The problem is that warnings alone do not save lives. He is. Some residents were especially critical of outdoor warning sirens. One resident called them World War I technology, like air raid sirens. I want to take them down and burn them. Sirens are only intended to reach people outside. Many people in buildings never knew the tornadoes were bearing down on them. Tuscaloosa today looks different. If you drive through Tuscaloosa, much has been rebuilt. Over $1 billion has been invested. The 15th Street commercial corridor is fully redeveloped. A greenway along the tornado path serves as a memorial. But if you know where to look, you can still see the scars. Younger trees, newer houses, empty lots where families once lived. If you drive through what remains of Smithville, Mississippi, you'll see a new high school with a storm shelter gym. If you visit Hackleburg or Phil Campbell, you'll see towns that refuse to die, that refuse to be defined by destruction. And if you talk to the survivors, if you ask them about April 27th, 2011, they'll tell you about the sound. Every single one of them will tell you about the sound. Mark Reifenrath in Pleasant Grove says that what they say about sounding like a jet engine, a train, he means yes, all of those things, but more and worse. It's something that he has never experienced again, and he prays he never will. They'll tell you about the darkness, the feeling of the house lifting, the debris cutting through the air like bullets, the moment everything went silent after the tornado passed. They'll tell you about searching for loved ones in the dark, about finding nothing but slabs where houses once stood, about hearing voices calling for help and following them through the debris. They'll tell you about the people who didn't make it, the children, the elderly, the young adults with their whole lives ahead of them. 324 names, 324 lives, 324 families forever changed. And they'll tell you that despite the forecasts, despite the warnings, despite doing everything right, sometimes the tornado wins. But they'll also tell you that life goes on, that communities rebuild, that from the rubble and the ruins, something new grows. The 2011 super outbreak stands as a generational event. Super outbreaks of this magnitude typically occur once every 40 years. Only 2 events are truly designated super outbreaks: 1974 and 2011. What makes 2011 stand out isn't just the scale, the most tornadoes ever recorded. It isn't just the violence, 4 EF5 tornadoes in one day. It isn't just the cost, the most expensive tornado disaster in history. It's that despite advanced warning systems, despite near-perfect forecasts, it was still the deadliest outbreak in 75 years. The 2011 super outbreak demonstrated the limits of meteorological science alone. Perfect forecasts cannot prevent tragedy without a complete system integrating warnings, public response, resilient construction, and community preparedness. April 27, 2011, changed American tornado preparedness forever. Warning communication improved. Shelter advocacy increased. Building codes were rewritten for the first time in history to account for tornadoes. But the most important lesson cannot be written in a building code or broadcast in a warning. The lesson is this: nature is powerful beyond our ability to control. The atmosphere, when it aligns just right, can produce forces that sweep away the strongest structures humans can build, that lift houses from foundations, that scatter lives like leaves in the wind. All we can do is watch the sky, take the warnings seriously, build stronger, shelter deeper, hold our loved ones close, and remember the names, all 324 of them, because they died despite perfect forecasts, despite advanced warnings, despite doing everything right. They died because on April 27th, 2011, the atmosphere produced something that happens perhaps once in a lifetime. A day when the deadliest force in nature struck with everything it had. A day when 216 tornadoes touched down in 24 hours. A day when 4 EF5 tornadoes carved paths of destruction through the heart of America. A day that will forever be remembered as the 2011 super outbreak, the deadliest tornado day in modern America.